So today in Vectorworks, I want to show you how to change your Vectorworks document over to the architectural side. And it's very, very easy. All we're going to do is over here in the tool sets, we're going to select a little house, and that house will be our tool sets that now we're going to see that are more used for architectural items. So for example, the first tool we're going to learn is the wall tool, and the wall tool is going to look very similar to a double line, but right now what I'm showing you is my document scale is pretty bad. So if I were to draw a wall, you're going to see that it's massive, so it doesn't really fit my document. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take my scale, and I want to change my scale 1 to 24. And what that'll do is that'll equal a ½ inch equals a foot, and that will allow me to then now see what that wall may look like. So now you can kind of see how my wall is this double line. I've got a lot of things I can do to that wall. I can change a lot of the individual preferences of that wall, which we'll get into a little bit later. But what I really want to point out right now is the control line of the wall. And I've got the left control line, the center control line, the right control line, or this custom control line. And it all depends on how you want to draw your wall. So if you draw like me, in this example, I'm drawing in a clockwise fashion from the top left corner down and around. I'm going to use the right control line as my control line to give me the inside shape of a room to be a certain size. So for example, as I start to draw this, I'm going to tab over and make this in my command line 10 feet. And when I do that, I'm going to now have 10 feet from this point here to the end point of my wall. I'm just going to continue that. You can see it's kind of like the 2D polygon tool where it's going to allow me to continue to draw. I'm going to tab again to 10 feet. And I'm going to hold down my shift key to make sure that that is indeed a straight line. I'm now going to be able to use some of this snapping preferences where I can come up here and let that snap to this point here as an endpoint. You'll see that dotted green line allowing me to know, holding down the shift key, and then I can finish that wall. The nice thing here is it will automatically join these corners, and what I should have, if I go down here to my dimensions and notes tool to my constrained dimension line, if I go from this corner here to this corner here, I will now have a wall that or a room, I should say, that is 10 feet by 10 feet. That is going to be very important for how we continue to move forward. From here, what I want you to kind of experiment with is if I wanted a wall to come off of the center of this room, maybe what I could do is now get my center control line and allow that center or midpoint of that wall allow me to connect straight across. You're going to see that when I do that, it automatically connects itself. But what it will not do is if I come off of this center control line and I come up here and I just make a wall, that wall will not physically connect itself to my room. So what I can do is I can come down here to my wall join tool, and in the wall join tool there are also several different modes of joining things together. For example, I've got a corner mode. If I were to take that corner mode and click and then drag and click on the wall, so I've got this T-join that was selected. That's just going to tee that into my existing wall. If I undo that and grab the corner mode, you're going to see in whichever direction I click and drag, it's going to connect those 2 points together and disconnect that wall in the opposite direction. If I have an X-join tool, it's going to kind of do nothing because they're not really over top of each other. But if I were to bring this wall down over top of that wall, now I can take that wall join tool with that X mode and kind of do this, and you'll see that now that both of those walls kind of overlap each other. My goal here is to have you experiment around with the wall tool. You can experiment with having caps, not having caps, and just make some wall shapes that might be interesting using the different control lines, and how can you make different rooms do different things. How can you get them to join in a specific way? Even if they do auto join, you can also go back and grab the wall join tool, and let's say that I wanted to have this be connected over here, and then maybe I wanted to have a wall go from my left control line being here into this wall here. You're going to see that that will now automatically connect itself. You can kind of see how my rooms are starting to take shape.